Now let's be honest here, I've played a lot of trashy shooters online at least once. Brink, Titanfall, Destiny, Homefront, Mag, Call of Duty Ghosts of Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 4 before all the patches, Halo Master Chief Collection before the matchmaking patches, and of course there's more which I probably forgot to name. However, if the Splatoon beta test turns out to be anything like the final game, like many beta tests have, I might as well add that one to the list as well. In fact, this game might as well top it. Now, the first problem with this game came before I even booted it up, because apparently instead of doing a normal all-day beta test in an attempt to get players worldwide to compete online, despite the fact that, other companies like Microsoft and Sony learned it introduces latency and lowers player experience, Nintendo, on the other hand, decided to do a beta test during 3 selected time periods chosen at a worse time slot than the Sonic Boom TV show. Don't want to play at a specific time or camp because of, say, a job or going out with friends? Tough, you must play Splatoon at a very specific time, or you won't be able to again until the game comes out for $60. So I eventually get online in the game using the Nintendo Ethernet adapter because, well, despite the fact that it's 2015 and nearly every console or desktop aside from a few heavily locked down computers has Ethernet ports, Nintendo wants you to actually pay for a port on the console that even the original Xbox and later PS2s had as standard, and of course the PS4 and Xbox One have these as standard too. You'll notice this is a running theme with this game too, at least in the beta. A lot of stuff feels stripped out. Now, from the second you load the game up on your Wii U after downloading it, you'll notice that this game is as bare bones as it gets with online, just like nearly any first-party Nintendo game. Now, while many Nintendo games feature bare bones online modes, like I said, once you play Splatoon, you realize just how behind the times Nintendo is with their online, and just how bare bones they are even compared to some older games like Halo 2. Unlike other games which use gamer tags or even Nintendo Network's own ID system when it comes to identifying yourself in-game, this game and other Nintendo games use your Mii name. For example, this game is using my name, Jake Fox, which is the name I put for my Mii, instead of Gligar13, which is my Nintendo Network ID, which is used in other Wii U games such as Call of Duty Black Ops 2. So instead of gaining a unique username, instead I get to be match-made against various other people who only have their first names as their usernames, which also makes it harder if you want to add somebody after you had a good match in the online mode on this game. And yet, every Xbox One and PS4, and even some Wii U games, do have this. Of course, on this game, you probably won't feel like adding anybody, and that's because this game does not feature another crucial feature for online games, and that is voice chat. Now, apparently Nintendo didn't want people calling somebody a no-no word or telling them to get good online, so apparently Nintendo has removed nearly all forms of communication. But unlike even many games such as Battlefield 4, which have you using a button to, for example, send messages to the team like how you need ammo, how you want to attack this, how you want to defend it, for example. Instead, this game only gives you 2 options, as you can see in the corner. Come on or booyah. That's it. Unlike Battlefield or Counter-Strike, where they give you a bunch of options because, those are games centered around actual team play, this game apparently does not seem centered around actual team play that much, and that is why the game only gives you 2 options when it comes to saying stuff that are about as effective as the taunts in Super Smash Bros. Unlike, letting your other teammates know what is going on in the game like Battlefield lets you. The game also lacks a scoreboard or a ping counter, so you can't just hit the back button and get your stats. You have to wait till the end of the round to get your kill-death ratio along with how much you covered. While in Call of Duty, you can hit the back button and get all of this instantly. The game also lacks a ping counter, so in case you're in a match that's laggy, you can't just tell if it's yourself lagging or if everybody else is lagging, if the game has lag issues when it actually comes out. Now, maybe it might not, or maybe Nintendo will just apply a ton of lag masking to this game. I'm unsure how they're going to handle lag in this game when it comes out in the end, though, but it'll be interesting. And considering how this game is meant to be played online, that's a pretty big omission. There's also no mini-map on your television. Instead, the only map is displayed on the bottom screen. You know, where you probably won't be looking. I mean, when you drive a car, when you're flying an airplane, you don't just look at the gauges 24/7, and it's why many aircraft and some expensive cars now have heads-up displays just like in video games. And it doesn't matter if it's a video game or if you're in a machine that weighs thousands of pounds carrying a lot of flammable material, you do not want to lose concentration whatsoever. You don't. And that's why many games put that stuff on the monitor and not some bottom screen which you're probably not looking at, like with Splatoon and its map. There's also no ammunition counter on your monitor. Instead, you have your ammunition counter being only at the very back of the character, a place you probably won't look at first glance because it kind of blends into your character, considering the whole character design of this game, and also considering how with many video games you see your ammo counter on the TV, or with some weapons such as the Halo Battle Rifle on both the TV and the weapon itself. I mean, look at how the health bar in Dead Space, for example, is made glaringly obvious so you can't miss it, and not the color of everything else in the game, because that's all I really need to say about that. To make matters worse, there's no in-game menu to change your weapon as is standard in nearly every other shooter, which allows you to select your weapon before you spawn. Unlike in Call of Duty where you get a weapon loadout selection in-game, or Battlefield which lets you tweak your loadouts in a match while waiting to respawn or choosing your spawn point, Splatoon gives you no way to switch your weapons during the game, and instead you have to wait till the game is over. It also gives you no way to change sensitivity if you're using analog stick controls until the game is over, and there's a reason I'm saying this, because the game actually starts you off with awkward gyroscope controls that require you to tilt your gamepad similar to a mobile game, despite the controller having all the buttons needed to pull off a shooter experience. And let's be honest here, gyroscope controls are awkward and controversial. Remember the whole controversy over Layer on the PS3? And since there's no pause menu, you have to stop the game and wait till the game's over to even tweak a single setting. And the worst part, however, is the actual gameplay of this game. The worst part, however, is the actual gameplay itself. Now, Nintendo tried to create a unique gameplay experience by mixing elements of D-Blob's painting system and Postal 2's unzip key. In the end, however, it comes off as a dull, shallow experience that requires little to no skill whatsoever. The game is all about spraying an area and marking your territory, if you know what I mean. And that's really the game's sole objective, at least in this game, because this beta only had one game type, and that was just mark your territory, and that is not giving this game a very good impression, especially if you want to do more than just play one mode all the time. And unlike Call of Duty or Battlefield, at least in this mode, there's nothing to do. While in Call of Duty or Battlefield, you have objectives to complete. It's not just kill everything, because if you do these objectives, you'll win the game, but if you don't, you'll lose. And it's not about scoring and how many kills you get. Like, that's how Call of Duty and Battlefield are. But yet this game, on the other hand, at least in this mode, all you do is spray, and that's it. Did I mention this game already has an overpowered paint roller weapon, which is perfect for the Nintendo audience in case they don't want to face any actual challenge, you know, kind of like the white Tanuki suit in Mario, but in a shooter. I mean, it's already massively overpowered. As for the aiming in this game, it feels off, as instead of having the crosshair be centered 100% of the time like it is in quite a few first-person games, or third-person games, the crosshair moves around a little, making aiming less precise than usual. But hey, at least you can play as underage squid girls and male squids, I'm guessing, who are also underage. And you also get to get customizable gear for them, kind of like you can in Team Fortress 2 or Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. You know, two games that also have, like, lots of kids as their audience. So, if the beta is anything to go by, this is a dull and forgettable game that will get old fast, and it lacks many standard features. And yet at the same time, not only does the producer of this game actually expect this game to somehow get esports play despite the game lacking basic features needed for the game to even pick up an esports following, but the game's also going to be $60 new. So in other words, despite feeling bare bones, despite getting real quickly, despite releasing unfinished, as party matchmaking and custom games are both not included, as they're actually going to come later on in an August patch, the game is $60. Think about that. $60 and it lacks a lot of features. I honestly don't even know why this game is being hyped so much by the Nintendo audience. As someone who's observed that audience, I've noticed that the game lacks much of what made Nintendo's older games popular in the first place. From a mascot character to a clear visual direction, to the accessibility of a game for newcomers, and of course an iconic theme song that is so popular that I think nearly everybody has covered it. And I doubt the music from this game is going to be as iconic or memorable as music from, say, older generations of Pokemon, Mario, or Zelda. I mean, look how many people know the Mario theme or the Zelda theme. Those are iconic. Those are embedded in American pop culture, especially the Mario theme and the NES, with Nintendo being associated with the 80s. The worst part about this game, however, at least for Nintendo, is the fact that nearly all these features I mentioned that are missing are available on Call of Duty. Not for the Xbox 360, not for the PS3 or PC though, but for the Wii U version of Call of Duty, of all versions. It has voice chat, scoreboards, ping counters, the ability to choose your loadout in game, flexibility with controls, allowing you to use everything from the Wii Remote to the Classic Controller to the Pro Controller, in-game messaging, party matchmaking, custom games, along with more features that are nice extras such as a file share, custom emblems, off-TV play, match recording, and more. And did I mention this is all on the Wii U version? I mean, they're on the 360, PS3, and PC versions too, but this is the Wii U version we're talking about here, because here's the point. This game lacks a lot of features that other games on the same exact system, the same exact online network, and the same exact company, like on the same system by the same company, have. I mean, honestly, if you're looking for a Wii U shooter, I might as well recommend Black Ops 2 on the Wii U instead of Splatoon if hearing the words third-party games or Call of Duty don't cause you to have a massive nervous breakdown. But even if you hate Call of Duty, even if you think it's the worst game ever, even if you're willing to unfriend people on social media services because they like that game, here's the thing. The Wii U has so few shooters that that's really the only one I can recommend, because many of the other shooters are not on the Wii U because they're on everything but the Wii U. They're on the 360, they're on the PS3, they're on the PC. Many of the newer ones are on the Xbox One and PS4. In fact, nearly all the newest ones are on that system. But they're not on the Wii U. And here's the thing, the Wii U has so few games that if you don't like the games provided, you're stuck with an overpriced brick, especially if you bought it early on, and especially if you bought it on the promise that the system would have third party, just like what was shown at E3 2011. I mean, remember when they had all those third-party developers there, including some developers of some big shooters? And now look what all the Wii U has. A bare-bones kids shooter that lacks features even other kids shooters have. And honestly, I would not recommend a purchase of this game from the fact that it lacks basic features, to the fact that Nintendo is never going to learn when they're rolling in money, and when they roll in money, it's just going to enable them to keep making stupid decisions like releasing an unfinished game with few features whatsoever. But what will really be interesting, in my opinion, though, is how the gaming media is going to handle this. Now, will they give this game a high score, like something you'd expect out of Nintendo Echo Chamber website, you know, like the ones that were actually defending the fact that this beta was only 3 hours? Or will they pan it, like what happens when it's anything that's not Nintendo, but they do the same exact thing by releasing a game without basic features? That's all I really have to say, and we'll know in a few weeks. You know, after The Witcher 3 has launched on everything but the Wii U. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.